get ready with me to talk about the time I got catfished on Roblox and met him in person. Okay, so I was playing Adopt Me, and I was like 12 at the time, and I wanted a free pet. And like scamming wasn't really a thing back then because people were actually nice. So I'm like APC for pet, or like the other way around. And this guy comes up to me and he like trades me a unicorn, like one of the good big unicorns. So obviously we add each other because like that's my homie now. Like you just gave me a free pet. Baby, that wasn't my homie. That was a 50-year-old man. So I leave the game and a little later he texts me. He's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, hi, how are you? He's like, good. So then he asked me for my Discord. I didn't have Discord, so I was like, oh, I don't have Discord, but I'll get it for you. Like, that's my homie, right? No. I end up adding him on Discord, and he's like, what do you look like? So I sent my face, my 12-year-old face at the time, and I guess he liked that. And he was like, oh my god, you're so beautiful, baby. And he was like, how old are you? And I tell him, like, I'm 12. I'm like, how about you? And he goes, I'm 13. And then I asked what he looks like, and he sends like a photo off Pinterest. Then we get to talking, and I find out he lives in New Jersey. Baby, I'm in PA. He was like, so do you want to hang out? Of course, I'm like, yes! Like, okay, my mommy will drive me to you. So I have to make like a plan because my mom is not gonna let me hang out with a 13-year-old boy who lives in New Jersey. So I told my mom, I'm gonna go hang out with my friend who lives like across the street. And I live near a bunch of stores, so we were like planning to meet at one of these stores. But I actually did end up bringing a friend because I got a little scared. So the guy arrives, we end up meeting at Dollar Tree, and he was like, oh, I'm in this aisle. And I'm like, okay. So me and my friend walked to the aisle, and I didn't tell him I was bringing my friend. So I go into the aisle and tell me why there's a 40-year-old man staring right back at me. And then he says my name, and I'm like, bro, this is not him. This doesn't look like the photo. So me and my friend start running out this door. So we run home, and he starts texting me like, oh, why'd you bring your friend? And blah, blah, blah. And I just had to block him, like. But yeah, basically don't meet up with guys on Roblox.
Here are strict rules my parents had for me growing up that would throw most normal kids into an insane asylum. The first one being that I had screen time on my phone until I was 18 years old that shut off at 10 p.m. every night. And when I was younger, I had to plug in my phone out in the kitchen, and at one point, all my electronics had to be plugged in the kitchen. Shout out to my mom and dad. This is not a nag at them at all. I was just kind of a wild child, and obviously some of these rules needed to be put in place because of my actions. But on top of the screen time, I was never really freely allowed to have social media until I was around 18. I don't even know if all you guys know, but when I first blew up on TikTok, I wasn't even supposed to have TikTok. So essentially I snuck it like the rebel I am. And when I first got Instagram and Snapchat, they were both on my mom's phone. They've also always had all my logins. At one point, I did actually end up having a flip phone for a month. I think like my sophomore or junior year. Everyone thought it was so funny, but that was a consequence. Next thing I always thought was interesting is that I was only really allowed to go to Christian concerts. I didn't go to my first concert until my senior year, which was a country concert. I had gone to probably like 5 or 6 Christian concerts, and I only really could listen to good music with my parents. Anytime something raunchy would turn on, they'd be like, oh my gosh, turn it off. As for boys, I was never allowed to have a boyfriend until I was 16. Obviously, I went against this rule because I was just a rebel, but they wouldn't allow me to actually have a boyfriend until I was like 16. Then when I first got my license, or when all my friends were getting their license, absolutely no one but me was allowed to drive me. My dad even threatened to have my best friend take a driving test with him to make sure that she could drive me places. This rule kind of ended up giving out a little bit, but it was very strict for my sister. She was never allowed to have a guy drive her, friends drive her, anything. So I'm glad that it loosened up because I had a boyfriend that was allowed to drive me, but no one was allowed to drive my car, leave marks on my car, like anything, which I guess is understandable because it was a nice car. And another thing is my house had cameras everywhere, like almost every hallway, every angle, and they always said it was to keep people out, but I honestly think it was to keep me in. And like I was never allowed to have boys over without supervision, which is completely understandable, but it's not like you could get away with any of that because we had cameras everywhere. And the cameras really did start going into effect after I got caught sneaking out once. For some reason, my parents are really smart. They're not like old clueless parents. They're like old smart parents that always find out about everything. So the first time I ever snuck out was to see my boyfriend at the time, and when they found out about it, they literally made me go to his house when I was about to take him on a date and then apologize to his entire family and rat him out. That was like the first time they had ever met my boyfriend at the time, and kind of same with his parents, and that prevented sleepovers for a long time, even with my best friend. I feel like all my consequences were very extreme for really what happened. Talk back, phone taken, 5 minutes past curfew, cars taken. Up until my senior year, I was never allowed to go anywhere unless my parents had like all the proper connections, like knew who was gonna be there, whose parents were gonna be there. I swear I would have to present like a 30-page PowerPoint to go anywhere, and maybe I'm being dramatic, but that's what it felt like. Until I got my car, I didn't really have to worry about this, but once I did, if there was like a party or a large get-together, I could never stay the night. I always had to drive home afterwards. Essentially, that was keeping me from drinking and doing drugs and all of that stuff, which I was never allowed to do, which I never did do in high school. And my curfew was always like 10 or 11, so people just didn't invite me anywhere because I literally would have to leave 30 minutes after everything started. As far as my grades, school, and like my sports go, those were kind of self-pressured by me. I always excelled in them because I wanted to. I feel like if I didn't, though, my parents would have had some rules about it, but honestly, I was really good about that. I turned out okay. For me, I was never a bad kid. Even the worst normal things I would do is probably better than some of the normalized things kids do nowadays. But it's like if I would do something wrong, it felt like I was being punished for doing hard drugs or something. Even my senior year, I still had to like sneak out to go to parties and stuff. Sorry, mom and dad, because they wouldn't have let me sleep over there. They definitely knew, but I think they did chill out when I turned 18. I know there's like a lot more. That's just what came to the top of my head. Like I know I could never do like sleepovers on school nights or things if I had something the next day, but I think that's just normal. So yeah, now that I say them all out loud, they don't sound like the worst things in the world, so let me know your guys' thoughts and your guys' rules if any of you guys have the same things in common. I don't know, it's just funny now. I always had the helicopter parents that were always in my business. Without me telling them, it was like searching through phones or media accounts to figure out what's going on. I feel like a lot of these are reasonable. I just wish I had a little bit more of a social life in high school, but I'm not mad that I didn't because honestly, they probably weren't making the best decisions anyway. And now that I'm on my own, they have completely let go of me. Like, I am completely on my own. I think they know that they raised me good and now they've just let go. So thanks, mom and dad, for raising me right, even if it might have been a little straight and narrow. So I gotta go. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace out. Love you. Bye.
Get ready with me while I tell you why you shouldn't talk to guys on vacation before you really get to know them. So last spring break, I went to Cabo with my dad and my sister, and we ended up meeting all these people there, and there was this one guy in our friend group. Okay, let's call him Johnny. Johnny and I have been flirting for like a couple of days, and I think there was like 3 days left, and then he ended up like making a move and like saying that he liked me and like asking for my snap and stuff. And like I was so excited. Like this felt like a little like movie to me. I was like, oh my gosh, making boyfriend on vacation, like, you know, here for a good time, not a long time. Like I was hype. Johnny and I are like hanging out all night. Like we didn't even like know where our other friend group was, but we were like, oh, it's fine. Like we can just hang out with each other, and we were like talking that whole night. Like it was so like cute and romantic. We were down by the beach, and like I just loved it. So he was walking me back that night, and then we ended up, you know, giving a little smooch before bed. Like it was so cute. And don't worry, gets less cute. Once I'm back in my room, like going to bed, like literally like butterflies, like oh my gosh. So then the next morning I'm telling my sister about it, and then we're like, oh my gosh, like let's stalk him on like all social media platforms, as one does. We find his Instagram. The entire thing is of a girl who looks just like me, his girlfriend from home that he lied to. So at this point, I'm jaw dropped, and I'm just like, wow, I really just helped a man cheat. Like I was livid with myself for not just looking him up before, which should not be my job, but yet men out here just be doing that. Mind you, my sister also was talking to a guy there, and we looked him up. He had a girlfriend too. So at this point, we're just looking up our whole friend group. So we find out that all of their friend group, all the guys in our friend group, there's probably like 6 guys, all had girlfriends. All had girlfriends. And every time we would ask one of them about it, they would say that they didn't. And so we looked back at their Instagrams. They had all blocked us. All blocked. But don't worry though, I had already screenshotted the girlfriend of my guy's Instagram account. Because you best believe I'd be sending a hey girly text. And so I'm talking to this man that I was talking to, and I was like, so what happened there? Like, you have a girlfriend? And then he was like, no, but she's at boarding school. Like, I'm breaking up with her when she comes home. And I was like, babe, you are still with her. That is not how it works. Like, I do not believe you in any way, shape, or form. Like, I have no trust in any of these men at this point. So then I go, okay, if you're gonna break up with her and she gets back and she gets her phone back, then you wouldn't mind if I texted her and told her what happened, because when she comes back, you guys will be broken up. When I tell you, this man threw an entire fit in a restaurant that our whole friend group was sitting in. Like, he was like screaming at me, being like, "Are you crazy? Like, you crazy bitch?" Like, all this stuff. And I was like, okay, so you're obviously not gonna break up with her then. Like, when we go home, I end up trying to text the girlfriend, but she has like a private account, so you can't even message her. Oh my gosh, I just got the eye. But I end up texting one of her friends who had an open account and was like, "Hey, I saw that you're friends with this person. Like, I'm letting you know, like she needs to follow me back. I need to tell her something about like her boyfriend." She was like, "Oh my gosh, okay." So she ends up following me back, and my message goes through, and she's like calling me, like being like, "Girl, what? Like, tell me about this," because they were about to break up anyway, because she cheated other times before. So they break up. I felt so bad. I was like, I feel like I just broke up this whole relationship. And she was like, "No, like, don't worry. Like, we were already gonna break up anyways. Like, he does this kind of stuff a lot." Like, was talking so horrible about this man. And I was like, "Yeah, like, you go, girl." Then we're texting, and we find out that her and I are going on the same cruise the following month. Like, what are the odds? So she tells me that she has a little plan. Her plan is that we're gonna go on this cruise, and we're gonna like FaceTime him, and we're gonna be like, "Hey, it's the girl that you cheated on me with." When I tell you, this girl was just as crazy psychotic. I mean, at least she wasn't cheating, but on this cruise, I saw her one time, never went to see her again. No. She was crazy. Not like, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm all for revenge. I'm all for being crazy, but there's a limit, and I will leave it there. Okay, so I come back from this cruise, and I see that she put all of her posts back up of him after all the diabolical things she did on this cruise. I don't know if she just needed to be equal, like revenge, or what, but they are back together, and 5 months later they are still back together, just posting away, acting like they're so happy. Like, is this normal? Like, am I living on a rock and this shit happens a lot? Like, moral of the story, don't trust people you go on vacation with, because you don't really know them. They could have girlfriends, could have boyfriends. You never know.
Ready with me story time, but this is why me and my ex-best friend aren't friends anymore. Sit down, refill your water, whatever you have to do, because it gets crazy. I'm also going to be using different names for all the people. We're going to call her Sarah. Sarah is a year older than us. I met her in the beginning of 8th grade. It was her beginning of 9th grade. Everything started off fine. We were like really close for the first 3 months. This is the time Ryan came to the school. So Ryan and his twin brother Luke are identical twins, and she goes for one of them. He absolutely rejects her, but the other twin brother is so obsessed with her. So this is when her like boy crazy side really starts to show. So Ryan is like so obsessed with her, right? She has to have somebody liking her, so she just goes for Ryan. Then they kind of stop like talking, and then she goes for another dude. You won't hear too much about him because he was such like a short thing, but they were like talking for a couple of weeks, and he would like buy her stuff, buy her coffees every day, and she would just flat out call him ugly. She would text me all the time, "Oh my gosh, this dude is so ugly." While she's playing Ryan has no clue that she's talking to other guys at this point. So after her and this one dude stop talking, this is when she kind of goes back to Ryan. And I have no clue how Ryan didn't figure any of this out. So then this junior started talking to her. Again, buy her drinks. He was like really Christian and would like always try to get her to go to his youth group. And her parents are so strict. She only had an Apple Watch. She was only able to have people in her phone that her parents personally knew and met. For us to start texting, I think it took like 3 weeks for them to actually say yes. I'm literally not joking about that. They were like connected to her phone too, so they could like see her messages, but she would delete all like the guys off of her phone. And she would mostly use school email. So her and this junior were school emailing like every day. Oh, while she's school emailing Ryan. And this is like right when my best friend comes to school too. So of course, I tell her all the tea. And by this time, this junior has been like asking her out for a couple weeks. And of course, she can't do anything with him. And then he just stops talking to her altogether. So of course, she goes back to Ryan. These are literally within days, weeks span of her talking to new guys. So then we have this one friend, Josh. And of course, Josh is obsessed with her too. I literally do not get why every guy is so obsessed with her. But this is when she starts leading him on. And he is like obsessed with her. So she's leading on 2 8th graders. She's in 9th grade. And the only time Josh would not leave her alone is when she would go to the girls' bathroom. Like, I'm not joking. He would follow her everywhere. So me and my friend are like so tired of Josh at this point. Because not only do we have a pick-me friend, but we have a friend that is always around a freaking boy. So the only time we were ever really allowed to talk to each other at that point was going to the girls' bathroom. And then this was a point too where this one girl had a crush on her. And then she would like write her notes about how in love she was with her. And she's not going to be really in this story much because they're off and on like with friendship because of this. We are not even close to being done. And this is a point where she gets really close with little 6th grade boys too. So teachers started getting like really weirded out that she was only hanging out with little boys that were in middle school. And they started calling her out on it. Like, why are you hanging out with little boys? So she was finally getting in trouble for that. And this little boy was like, Sarah said if I wasn't in 6th grade, she would absolutely date me. And this is what really grossed me out. She was literally telling this short little 6th grade boy, before Sarah knew he was in 6th grade, she was going to start dating. This is when me and my best friend started like, whoa, this is not good. And this is about the time where school was about to end. And this girl would constantly talk about her exes, constantly go talk to them, crap talk them, talk about how they were sending her photos, all this stuff. But around this time, this is where me and my friend got so fed up and literally just like stopped talking to her altogether. Because not only could we not talk to her because 6th and 8th grade little boys were following her around, but she would literally ditch us to go with these little boys. I could probably make a part 2 on everything because there's a lot more. It's just actually so sad because if she wasn't so boy crazy like she still is now, then I think we would all be still friends. Please tell me if you guys want a part 2 because I have more about this year. Make sure to follow for more so you don't miss out on any of these story times. And bye guys.
Get ready with me while I talk about the time I stopped being friends with this one girl. Okay, so for the sake of the video, we're gonna call this girl Zoe. Okay, so me and Zoe became friends off a girl like we were both friends with. And from there, we just started hanging out a lot. And like, we just became really close friends. I thought she was a really genuine person. And we would get along really well until what happened because I stopped being, the reason I stopped being friends with her. Okay, so one day I go over to her house and like her mom, she has like these scooters, electric scooters. They're like scooters, but they're like, I'm not really sure how to explain it. We're just gonna say electric scooters. Okay, so they're like these electric scooters and we would ride them We would ride them around all the time. And there was this one time we were riding them on the sidewalk and she kept like the side, okay, so it was a sidewalk and then the road on the side, and you know how sidewalks have like that like edge. I don't know how to explain it, but I'll show like a picture if I can find it. Like, so like when you step down, it's kind of like a step, you know? And so she kept going off like the scooter. She kept going off the sidewalk with the scooter, so obviously like she just kept doing that. And so she goes to do it again, and then this time she loses control because I think she's going too fast, and then she like falls and like flips on the road. And then so she falls, and I low-key start giggling because it was funny to me. But she didn't think so, and she started like crying, and I've never seen her cry like that. And it wasn't even like a normal cry. I don't know how to explain it. It just sounded so bratty. And then so I go to help her up because I see she's crying, and she's like, no,
no, like, she starts, like, raising her voice at me, and she's like, no, like, who do you think you're talking to? Because I know it's not me. So I don't know what to do because she's just sitting there crying on the road, and I tried helping her up, but she didn't want help from me. So what am I supposed to do now? And we're just like standing there for like a couple of minutes. So after we're like just standing there, like, because I went to go over to see how the scooter was, because these aren't our scooters, they're her mom's. So I went to go pick up the scooter to see if it was broken, and it like the like handle broke off of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's broken. And she was like, shut up. Hold on, who are you telling to shut up? And I'm like, oh, like, who are you talking to? Like, I don't know. She told me to shut up. I'm like, I was just trying to help, like, okay? And then again, I'm just standing there while she's just sitting there on the floor crying like a brat. And then eventually she's like, well, pick up the scooter, help me up. And I was like, no, not after the way you spoke to me. I'm not helping you up, and you can pick up the scooter yourself, because who do you think I am? I'm not gonna take disrespect from no person, especially you. So she finally gets up and like picks up the scooter, and like the scooter didn't break. It just like detached, so you could just put it back on. And then we go back to her house. It's not far away. It's like 5 minutes away. So we go back, and she tells her mom that she just fell, because her mom would get mad if like she told her she fell off the scooter, you know? Oh, mind you, on the way back, we were even laughing about it. Like, so everything was good then. But then when we got back home, she switched up again. She told her mom she fell, and like how her knee was hurting because her knee was all scraped up. And she was like, oh my gosh, what happened? I don't know why her mom was being so dramatic. Like, if she broke her knee, like, it's just a little scratch. Like, what? She was acting like if she needed medical attention or something. I don't know. And then so her mom like gets like some things to clean it up and stuff, and like I don't know why, but she wraps it. Like, honey, you didn't sprain your knee. It's a scratch. And then she calls one of her family members, and because I guess like she's a nurse or something, and she tells her what happened and how her knees hurt, and she's asking her what she can do, and why, I don't know why her family is acting so dramatic. Like, she did not break her knee. She's like, oh honey, like just like rest and stuff, and like clean it with alcohol or whatever. And Zoe's just like, oh, okay. Anyways, after that, she's like apparently so tired, and she's like, I'm so tired or whatever. And then she's like, Mom, take her home. What? I'm sorry, what? And she's like, my knee hurts so bad, just take her home. And I was like, that's rude. That's so fucking rude. Like, you invited me over, and now you want your mom to take me home? Like, that's just like, you're not 5 years old. Your knee cannot be hurting that bad. So her mom was like, Zoe, that's so rude. At least, like, her mom told her something. But her mom took me home, and yeah. And then later that night, she texted me, and she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was genuinely so tired, bro. Like, why are you calling me bro right now? Like, what? She's like, my knee was actually hurting so bad. You didn't break it. Like, honestly, grow up. At your grown age, you're really complaining about some scratches on your knee? Like, there's no way. One, I never answered her, and I blocked her because, and I just stopped being friends with her because she also had problems with my friend that we became friends through. So like, why are you also disrespecting her? Like, no. So I stopped being friends with her completely. If you disrespect me or anyone else that I'm really good friends with, then we just can't be friends, because how do I know you're not going to do that again, you know? But that's the reason I stopped being friends with this girl. But yeah, I'm gonna finish getting ready and I'll be back. I haven't finished getting ready, but mind you, this girl also one time, Zoe, also one time, like, we were riding the scooters and she picked up a cigarette, and like, before that we went back to her house, and then we went to like this mountaintop, and like she picked up a cigarette off the floor and started smoking it. Like, what the, like, you're so weird. Okay, I'm not done getting ready, but this video is going to be too long, so thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.